Thank you, Dave. Hello, Canada. And to those of you watching in the United States on ESPN2, we welcome you inside McMahon Stadium tonight. Spectacular Saturday summer night in the Stampede City.
And it's showtime for two of the best in the business. Finalists for the Outstanding Canadian Award last season, John Cornish led the CFL in rushing, won the Most Outstanding Canadian Award in 2012. As Calgary's running back, he'll face off against this guy, Shea Emery, middle linebacker for the Montreal Alouettes, the East Division finalist for Most Outstanding Canadian a year ago. They look to shut Cornish down today.
First-year head coach Dan Hawkins, 1-2 start. Starting to feel a little heat in Montreal should they lose this one tonight. John Hufnagel. His team 2-1 right now, and all eyes are on his kicker, Rene Paredes, who is riding a streak of 25 straight field goals. The CFL record is 30. Paredes will kick this off tonight. The red and white of the Stampeders, the red, white, and blue of the Montreal Alouettes. We've got liftoff here in Calgary tonight. Noel Devine up the middle, and he's dragged down just past the 35-yard line. This has been a terrible 3-week stretch for Anthony Calvillo. It's all about the numbers for the future Hall of Famer, but the numbers are seriously down.
Well, they sure are. Some of the worst in 15 years for Calvillo. Just 25% on second down conversions, ranks last in the Canadian Football League through 3 weeks. His go-to guy, Jamel Richardson, held to just 2 catches 6 yards a week ago. And on top of that, both his starting guards are out. Ryan Bauman makes his first start and places Scott Flory tonight.
The Owls went 81 yards and a touchdown in their opening drive in Montreal. This rematch of the two teams from last week, 8 days ago. Here are the starters to watch on defense for Calgary.
And they've got some injury issues on the defensive side of the ball. While they did get Keon Raymond back in the lineup last week, Deron Mayo comes in at the weak side linebacker spot to replace Malik Jackson, who's out with a broken arm. Sean Lemon steps up. They look to him to help boost that pass rush in the absence of their #1 guy, Charleston Hughes.
Starters to watch brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard. Calvillo fires, and unable to hang on is Brandon Whitaker, and a quick 2-and-out. So unlike last week, when the Alouettes drove the field on their opening drive for a touchdown, a quick 2-and-out, they'll boot it away.
Well, and such has been the trend for the Montreal Alouettes through the early portion of this season, Rod. First down, not getting enough yards, puts them in a 2nd-and-long situation, and they're having all sorts of trouble converting.
No rhythm, no sync right now. That's why the numbers are seriously down for the Alouettes. Perennial powerhouse in the CFL East, struggling out of the gate. Sean White almost had that blocked. Bounces down and close to the sideline, where the former Alouette Larry Taylor has nowhere to go. So no Drew Tate again for the Calgary Stampeders, but no mind, because Kevin Glenn is the great insurance backup. As he was a year ago, he led this team down the road to the Grey Cup game.
Well, he sure did. And Kevin Glenn, if he can pick up where he left off last week, where he finished with 15 completions in his last 17 attempts in game 1 of this back-to-back against Montreal. John Cornish, of course, at running back, averaging over 100 yards a game through the first 3 weeks of the season.
Heavy
Dan
6'4"
Federkyle returns at right tackle. He was out last week.
No Maurice Price for the Stampeders. Injured in practice this week, so Brad Sinopoli again will start. The Canadian quarterback turned receiver. First touch goes to John Cornish.
And John Cornish was met on the play by none other than Shea Emery. As we mentioned off the top Canadian, top defensive player as well in the East Division last season. Keep an eye on Kai Hebert at that will linebacker spot. He moves down from safety, leads all Canadian Football League linebackers in sacks with 4 so far this season. And at free safety, the rookie, #3 overall pick, Mike Edom, has made an immediate impact in the Owls defense.
2nd down and 7, Glenn in the shotgun. Send out 4 receivers in the pocket. This one's up high, and a quick 2-and-out for the Stampeders as well. So both offenses sputter in their opening series here.
Well, it wouldn't be surprising at all, Rod, in the early portion of this football game to see the offenses take a little bit of time to get going. Last week it was a grinded-out football game, 2 very good defensive clubs, and I think in Montreal's case in particular, the play of their defense has been overshadowed by the unmet expectations of their offense.
Rob Maver, all-star punter last year in the Canadian Football League. Former Guelph Griffin puts his foot into it against the breeze. Good kick. Devine is there. Stutter step, nowhere to go. Dropped the 28-yard line. Away we go. We're underway here at McMahon Stadium on a Saturday night in Calgary. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. Week 4, Canadian Football League, Anthony Calvillo back at the helm again. Banged up his thumb this week in practice, re-aggravating an earlier injury. Some concern. Not on that pass, though. Finds one of his favorite targets, one of the super slots, S.J. Green. Anthony Calvillo banged up that thumb earlier this week.
When I hit the helmet on day 2 a couple of days ago, I just lost complete strength. I couldn't squeeze the ball, and it was very weak. So when I came back yesterday to practice, my concern was I needed to be able to grip the ball, and I was able to grip the ball with no pain whatsoever. Was able to throw every ball that I needed to throw to help our offense out. So right now it's not an issue.
Well, no issue there. What a spectacular catch by S.J. Green. That's his second of the night, 13th of the season. S.J. Green's numbers are similar to what they were starting the season last year, but his offense's number, just take a look at it. Last in almost every category. Everybody's trying to find a reason why. Why?
Growing pains is the simple solution. This is a team that's run the same scheme with the same group of guys for the last 5 seasons under Mark Trestman. New coaching staff, Mike Miller is the new offensive coordinator. Dan Hawkins, the new head coach, has taken the players some time to adapt. You just hope that they get some confidence and buy in before it's too late.
Inside handoff here on the power sweep, and Noel Devine, big gainer, close to a first down here. As Noel Devine of West Virginia picks up 6 yards.
Well, this play was bread and butter for this team in week 1 in particular. Brandon Whitaker, their starting running back, was still out of the lineup recovering from a knee injury suffered last season. Noel Devine was kind of the key to their run game, using that power sweep. They'd motion him, line him up in the slot, and get him the football out on the edge. A creative play brought to this system by Mike Miller.
One guy who has been missing in action, Jamel Richardson. They need to get him going, number 18. They look to the far side, and they find Arland Bruce. And a good tackle made by Keon Raymond, or Arland Bruce might have found the house. Former Argo and Bomber and BC Lion and Hamilton Tiger Cat, Arland Bruce. Big gainer there, has been the Alouettes' leading receiver. 21-yard gain.
And Bruce has been a terrific addition. He's the one new starter on this Montreal Alouette offense, a guy who's been different places around the league, clearly adapting well as this Montreal offense starts with a little bit of momentum here in their second possession.
An offense that has been devoid of big plays so far this season. They pick up one there, and Brandon Whitaker. Whitaker's 3rd game back again. His knee got torn up last September. He was on the shelf, missed the rest of the season, so a comeback for Brandon Whitaker. And if they can get the guy they call two-way back to the form he had, that will change those numbers offensively considerably.
Well, it sure will. Brandon Whitaker, a guy who led the Canadian Football League in rushing in the 2011 season, nicknamed two-way because he's a terrific dual threat, great receiver out of the backfield as well.
Little wing formation this time. Play action. Calvillo, far side, has S.J. Green again. Green tight ropes down the sideline, inside the 5-yard line. And so far, S.J. Green has brought his A game to Calgary.
S.J. Green continues to deliver in this offense. He lines up as the second man in that stack with Brandon London. London basically runs a pick for him, occupying the 2 defenders, giving Green a little bit of space for that quick out. This Montreal offense seemingly finding some rhythm, and perhaps the fact that they're playing back-to-back games, their second set of back-to-backs, has allowed them some continuity from week to week in terms of the plays that are in, Rod.
1st and goal. Brandon Whitaker scores easily. could waltz into the end zone. Brandon Whitaker has his first touchdown of the new season.
That's all y'all right there.
And huge for Brandon Whitaker, a guy who had 19 touchdowns in 28 games over the last 2 seasons, to get #1 of the year off his back. Great block by the H-back, Patrick Lavoie, to seal that edge.
A drive that was aided by Arland Bruce and S.J. Green's 3 catches for 46 yards. Brandon Whitaker, the double threat, brings it into the end zone for the first score here tonight. Sean White with a point after. The Alouettes, as they did a week ago in Montreal, have the early 7-0 lead. Two-way end zone for 6. 27-year-old native of Edmond, Oklahoma, at the Baylor University, Baylor Bear. Now Montreal Alouette, Brandon Whitaker off right tackle.
He gets a little bit of help here from the H-back, Patrick Lavoie. Comes into motion, he's got to seal that end. Knocks it down, easy in for Whitaker.
But for Anthony Calvillo as well, passing at just under 60% on the season.
Yeah, 4 for 4 on that drive, picked up 67 yards through the air.
So now Sean White with the wind picking up. It's kind of swirling a little bit, but generally blowing from right to left on your screen. Deep, deep kick. There is Larry Taylor. Goes right head first into the scrum up near the 20-yard line.
Well, John Cornish, the centerpiece of this Calgary Stampeder offense, the league's leading rusher a year ago, over 1,400 yards. He sits at #2 this season, behind only Corey Sheets, who's off to a phenomenal start for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The CFL record, those 1,457 yards for Cornish last year, record for a Canadian back.
3-3.
Cornish in motion. Inside handoff to Marquay McDaniel. So they throw one of those inside sweeps right back at the Alouettes here.
Well, this is going to be one of the keys as this season goes on for the Calgary Stampeders, is you've got to find different ways to run the football as John Cornish becomes something of a marked man. Their offensive coordinator, Dave Dickinson, former most outstanding player at quarterback with the Stampeders. He's got to be the guy to get those receivers involved in the run game, even get the quarterback involved in the run game a little bit.
Pickup of 7 rather, second down and 3. Len back to pass again, hangs in, goes over the top, and it is picked off. Shea Emery got his hand on it and batted it right to Chip Cox. A huge turnover here for the Montreal Alouettes.
Chip Cox, who led this Montreal team with 4 interceptions last season, picks up his first of the year. Shea Emery cuts down that window as Kevin Glenn tries to go across the middle. Emery jumps it. And Chip Cox able to get underneath that football before it hits the ground. Glenn knowing this is a costly one in their own territory.
All-time leading tackler in Alouettes history. Guy who's got an enormous motor, Chip Cox, on an assist from Shea Emery. That's his first pick of 2013. Instant field position, Alouettes. And off again, and swallowed up at the line of scrimmage. Buried is Brandon Whitaker. Cordero Law in there on the stop. Law again filling in at that rush end position for the injured Charleston Hughes.
And it'll be interesting to see how the Calgary defense responds without Charleston Hughes today. Hughes, one of those guys that you list among the top 3, top 5 defenders in the Canadian Football League right now. Red hot to end last season, red hot to start this season, getting after the quarterback. They moved him around a lot. They may not be able to do as much scheme-wise without him.
Calvillo down, there's the rush, and probably a good thing that that went incomplete. It would have been another loss, and so the best the Owls will do here is a field goal attempt from Sean White, but after forcing yet another turnover, Montreal's 12th forced turnover in the early season.
But what Calgary is doing here to get some pressure on Anthony Calvillo is bringing their second safety, that dime back, Eric Fraser, down low, and he's coming on the blitz. unblocked, unaccounted for in that blocking scheme, forcing Calvillo to hurry up that rhythm.
Sean White, his only miss was beyond the 40-yard line. His longest make of the season, 36, 6 of 7. Chance to extend the lead to 10-0. From the 42, it's up, and it is good. The Alouettes, thanks to a Sean White field goal, 3 points off a turnover, have an early 10-0 lead. Same shaved heads, same beards. Two dynamic, outstanding Canadians, Shea Emery, John Cornish. Let's go to the sideline. Here's Jermaine Franklin.
That's right, Rod. John Cornish and Shea Emery have so much in common, which is probably why it seems that they're destined to clash. Both are BC high school football legends, but they played for rival programs. Both had great college careers down south, and both were up for the Canadian of the Year award. Cornish walked away with that prize. Now, Cornish and Emery, they apparently look alike, but Emery doesn't see it. Cornish does. But the bottom line is these are Canadians that are in high-skilled positions that are normally filled by Americans. One a running back, the other a middle linebacker. They're bound to clash. Two forces always have to meet, and whoever wins that battle within the game usually gives their team the best chance to win.
All right, right you are, Jermaine. These are two rivals as well. They may play it down. When they play, it's on.
Yeah, no question, no question. And we'll revisit this battle as the game goes on. They'll see plenty of each other.
Saw Brad Sinopoli make another catch, the former Heck Crichton Trophy winner. Canada's version of the Heisman Trophy for Canadian university football. Sinopoli made the catch on the first down. That was Cornish on the second down. And once again, it's going to be kick time for the Stampeders.
This Montreal defense, through the first 3 weeks of the season, despite the struggles and unmet expectations of this team as a whole, the defense under coordinator Noel Thorpe has held up its end of the bargain.
They kept the Alouettes in the game last week against Calgary. It could have been a lot worse. It ended up an 8-point game. Defense and special teams picking up the slack of the offense. The offense is clicking tonight, however. Noel Devine wrapped up, brought down, downfield very quickly was Alvin Bowen. AC back to work when we come back. CFL on TSN continues tonight. Right after this one, two guys who used to be teammates, now rivals. Travis Lulay, Mike Riley. Eskimos Lions coming up next from BC Place. After this one, football night in Canada. Alouettes, Calgary Stampeders, round 2 of their back-to-back. The Alouettes started the season with 2 back-to-backs. Calvillo out of the pocket, downfield quickly, and there's Jamel Richardson. And the Alouettes, if they need to point to their numbers being down, just look at number 18's numbers right now. Nowhere near what they are supposed to be.
Richardson, just 6 receiving yards last season. Well surpasses that with this outstanding catch in traffic. Anthony Calvillo, a little bit of play action. Pulls it, hits him down the seam.
22-yarder. Richardson had 8 catches coming in, 76 yards through 3 games. He usually has that in 1 game. Calvillo slings it again, looking for S.J. Green, but that was an overthrow.
You know, Rod, most of the discussion surrounding the struggling Montreal Alouette offense is centered on Anthony Calvillo, but the guy perhaps most affected, even more than his quarterback, has been Jamel Richardson, along with Calgary's Nick Lewis, the only receiver in the league to be over 1,000 yards receiving each of the last 5 seasons. Through 3 weeks of this season, on pace for less than half of that, 456.
A couple of seasons ago, Richardson had 12 games, straight games, with 100 yards receiving. They need more of that. Calvillo, strong arm, sideline, what a catch! S.J. Green is going to go down the sideline and score a touchdown. What A catch by the human highlight reel, S.J. Green. Another one here tonight, and a 58-yard touchdown.
Well, this one's made possible by the block of the running back, Brandon Whitaker. You remember a couple second downs ago when Eric Fraser came in pressure on second down? Here comes Fraser. This time Whitaker's there to pick him up. Buys AC a little bit more time for this route to develop. S.J. Green, I'd say he gets open, but S.J. Green doesn't always need to get open to be able to make the catch. He goes up above the defender, makes a play for his quarterback. Huge touchdown for the Alouettes.
Explosive start here for the Alouettes. 3 minutes to go, opening quarter. This makes it 17-0 in a very quiet McMahon Stadium.
Right there, kid. That was awesome.
Suddenly, this Montreal Alouettes offense looks like the Alouettes offense we've seen the last couple seasons.
Well, it certainly does. S.J. Green coming up with big plays. Brandon Whitaker stepping up in a big way here. The blitz is going to come from this side. Brandon Whitaker steps up, meets it at the line of scrimmage. So Anthony Calvillo, he doesn't see those off-colored jerseys crowding him. He knows he's got time to step up and step into this throw. S.J. Green, he's working on the deep route from that cluster. He's the outside man in that group along with Arlen Bruce and Jamel Richardson. Down the seam, tight corner. And over top of the much smaller Brandon Smith. And away he goes.
Anthony Calvillo, another touchdown pass. That makes it 21 straight games now with at least a touchdown pass. It ties his record of 21. The all-time record, 34, Sam Echeverry, the former Alouette. Travis Lulay came close, of course, recently. Got it to 26, but Calvillo, despite the struggles, has another touchdown toss here. What a start for the Owls. 17-0. Stampeders barely started this game here, barely warmed up. They need to get their offense in gear. Keon Raymond, linebacker turned returner. Here it is, the all-time record, the rifle, Sam Echeverry. Travis Lulay took it to 26 last season before being stopped, and Anthony Calvillo joins Doug Flutie as well as himself. Anthony Calvillo's name is all over the record book.
Well, it certainly is a tremendous career for the 40-year-old quarterback. But for now, he's just worried about this game and keeping it going.
And a grimacing on the sideline there. Whistles now. Referee Maury Clark will sort this out. Looked like a false start. Now time for the Stampeder offense to get into gear here. They have not had the football very much in this first quarter.
Calgary number 66. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Stanley Bryant protects the blind side of Kevin Glenn, the left tackle. First and 15 now. Stampeders from their 15-yard line. Play action. Glenn now is smothered by Chip Cox. Kevin Glenn sacked a handful of times last week, still got the win, but there's another one from the ransacking Montreal Alouette linebacking crew.
Well, this is what Chip Cox loves to do. He's coming straight off that edge. Now, last year under defensive coordinator Jeff Reinbold, they needed Cox in coverage. He didn't get to rush as much as he liked, and he begged all year saying he wanted to be involved in this aspect of the game, likes to be around the football. And you see exactly why as he leaves the Stampeders backed right up after that sack.
Second sack of the season. Now they flush it out to John Cornish. Alan Michael Cash and Chip Cox both there. They barely get back to the 15-yard line. In fact, the 13-yard line, and they'll have to boot it away again. Under 2 minutes to go. This is not the start the Calgary Stampeders envisioned.
Well, not the start the Stampeders envisioned, but certainly the one that the Montreal Alouettes needed early in the season, and you hate to say it, in week 4, but in many ways a bit of a make or break week for the Montreal Alouettes after a tough game last week, a difficult loss, a team that's confidence might have been failing a little bit. They needed to come up big here in the back-to-back with Calgary. They've done it so far. Now they just need to maintain.
Rob Maver will boot this into the breeze. Line drive. Backs up Noel Devine. He's going to kick it outside here. He's got room. Devine looking for blocks now. Noel Devine to the 30, to the 25, and another big play. Noel Devine on a huge return. 40-yard return for Noel Devine. The Alouettes have instant field position again.
You can see that wall setting up a mile away out to the wide side of the field. Stampeders allowed themselves to get outflanked in coverage by Alouette blockers. A huge return for Noel Devine. Plenty of reason for head coach Dan Hawkins to cheer.
Coming into this game, Calgary's punt coverage was #1 in the Canadian Football League. They only held Montreal to an average of 3 yards per return last week. That made up for more of it. That huge return by Noel Devine.
For Calgary, one of their special teams stalwarts, Jeff Hecht, down at midfield. Backup defensive back on the receiving end of a big block. I believe it was Marco Briette, the Alouette linebacker, that caught him on that one. Former teammates in Montreal. Hecht began his career as an Alouette.
Jeff Hecht gets attended to. Let's go to the sideline once again and join Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, Rod. Coach Dan Hawkins told us yesterday that he's not superstitious, but he does believe that strong practices lead to strong games. And he told us that the team had their best day 3 practice they've had all season long, which is huge considering Anthony Calvillo missed day 2 of practice. And now, obviously, we're seeing the fruits of their labor.
As the saying goes, perfect practice makes perfect, and the Owls have sure been close here today.
Calvillo's off to an electrifying start, and there is Jerome Messam, who absolutely powers his way inside the 5-yard line.
Well, Jerome Messam missed the first couple weeks of this season due to injury. But the outstanding Canadian in the CFL in 2011 looks like he is back in fine form. Little change-up from the scat back, Brandon Whitaker. Messam, the bus, 235 pounds.
He stays in here, the former outstanding Canadian in Edmonton 2 years ago. Runs into a red and white wall this time. Chatted with Dan Hawkins a couple of weeks ago about the possibility of Jerome Messam in this offense with Brandon Whitaker. You have, you're pretty loaded at running back. And you have Stephen Lumbala as well, the young rookie, the former Calgary Dino. And he's just looked at me with those eyes kind of glittered. He said, Jerome Messam is special.
Yeah, he's a very unique combination of size, speed, and skill. When he puts it all together, can be unbelievable, as he was in Edmonton a couple of seasons ago.
Of course, went to the NFL, tried to make it there, then came back to Edmonton, ended up in Montreal. Here he is again. Will he end up in the end zone? Yes, he will. Touchdown, Jerome Messam. Welcome to the Montreal Alouettes. Welcome back to the end zone, Jerome Messam.
A great job by that Alouette offensive line, washing things down on the front side of the play. Messam just finds a gap, lowers his shoulder, and bangs it in.
Jerome.
Brampton, Ontario native Jerome Messam.
Hey, Mess. Get away, babe. Make you believe
Highly coveted. Played his university ball with the Graceland Yellow Jackets. Back to the CFL. And has done a lot of that. He's found a home now in a Montreal Alouette uniform. Who would have seen this one coming? 1 quarter down, and the Alouettes and that offense. It's steaming. 24-0. So much for that anemic Montreal Alouettes offense. 24 points first quarter. Look at the numbers, and Anthony Calvillo 6 of 9 passing.
And everybody else in the Canadian Football League is suddenly a little nervous again against the Montreal Alouettes. It's only one quarter of football, but these guys look like a completely different football team than they have offensively through the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah, their defense also forced a turnover in that first quarter. How about Jerome Messam? Now getting some time with the Alouettes. Obviously looks good in that uniform right now.
If they can find a way to keep everybody happy with enough touches, Messam becomes another terrific weapon in Anthony Calvillo's arsenal.
So the Alouettes scored 24 points with the win. What can the Stampeders do? Larry Taylor picks his way to the 39-yard line. And now the Stampeder offense needs to get it into gear. 3 2-and-outs in that first quarter. Very unlike what they did last week when they rolled, put up a lot of numbers in Montreal.
Well, they dominated in terms of time of possession last week, over 36 minutes with the ball in that game. Kevin Glenn took terrific care of the football. 15 of his last 17 passes. He's got to get back on track and get in a groove, and they got to get Cornish rolling on the ground here.
Fear sometimes too when you're down so much that you lose your running game. Here's Taylor, pitch pass, shakes one, knocked out of bounds, picks up around 7 yards. That long toss to the sideline, almost 8 yards for Larry Taylor, the former Alouette.
Well, you'll see a little bit more of Larry Taylor on offense today. The guy known primarily as a special teams weapon, but with Mo Price, as you mentioned, out with that nagging hamstring problem. Taylor and the Canadian Brad Sinopoli will split some reps in that wide-out position.
Stamps trying to get some momentum here. Have not been on Montreal's side of the field yet. Cornish tripped up. It is a first down for the Stamps, their first down of this game.
A little sarcasm from the Calgary faithful.
Now Glenn goes to the sideline. Bo Levi Mitchell comes in. Actually, Bo Levi Mitchell comes in on running plays. This time, the toss outside. Unable to hang on is Anthony Parker. Another one of the many Calgary Dinos on the field here.
A unique formation there from the Calgary Stampeders. As you'll notice, they've only got the 3 offensive linemen inside. They sent the tackles out along the line in motion to be blockers on each side for the hitch pass. So Big Dan Federkyle, the right tackle, is out there battling with Billy Parker, trying to block for that hitch screen to Anthony Parker.
Over the top now. McLewis, his first reception of this game, and he plows his way close to the 50-yard line of Montreal. Had to get to the 50 to move the sticks.
Well, this is a great effort by Nick Lewis, doing exactly what he's done for the last 9 years. Heart and soul guy for the Calgary Stampeders. Over 1,000 yards receiving every year in the CFL, but just watch him fight for those extra yards to put his team in a position to even gamble on third down, go after this one.
His streak now 161 straight games with at least a catch. So they're that far away. That means Bo Levi Mitchell time again. Glenn goes to the sideline. And they will no doubt go after this. Trailing 24 points. It's shell-shocked Stampeder team here early on.
One of your keys offensively in terms of this decision to go for it. Obviously, you're out past midfield, less than a yard, which you should be able to get given the 1-yard neutral zone. But I mean, when Calvillo's on a roll like this, it's your responsibility to keep the ball out of his hands.
Levi Mitchell goes straight forward, and he gets the 50-yard line. First down, Stampeders. Right you are, keeping Anthony Calvillo off the field, which for the most part they did last week. Calvillo didn't help himself, of course. His numbers were off offensively. completing only over 50% of his passes. Stamps looked awfully good, though, last week.
Well, they definitely did, but what a difference a week makes in a season where people are talking about parity across the CFL. Anything can happen any given weekend.
Look out now. Kevin Glenn dodges one and then meets Kyrie St-Bear. The Angry Bird, as he is called. Kevin Glenn was lucky that he didn't lose his head on that blitz coming in.
With your foul, roughing the passer. Montreal number 35. 15 yards from point of last scrimmage. First down.
So there is a roughing the passer call here. Take a look at Gerald Brown had him. And then Kyrus Hebert lowers the boom. Roughing the passer call, though.
Well, the Alouettes let him off the hook with the flag here on the takedown on Kevin Glenn. Looks like the tackle around the head there from Hebert.
First and 10 inside the 35. The blitz again, and unable to hang on is Joe West. Costly drop. Needed to have that on the slant. And Kevin Glenn, as he told us yesterday, he said the Alouettes were going to be coming. They were going to be loading the box and bringing the house. That's what they're doing so far.
Well, they sure are. This time it's the free safety, Mike Edom. Comes on that sting, bringing the pressure on Kevin Glenn. He's got to get rid of it in a hurry, and it's the right execution. Edom comes right up the middle. That's a case where John Cornish, he's got a double read, and he's got to take the most dangerous guy, which is the safety up the middle, as opposed to the linebacker off the edge.
There's the former Calgary Dino. Play action. Sinopoli now. Brad Sinopoli lunges forward. First down, his second catch, and Brad Sinopoli, who made his CFL debut as a receiver a week ago in Montreal with 5 catches for 81 yards, has his second tonight.
Yeah, Sinopoli looking every bit the part out there at receiver. Spent his sophomore season at the University of Ottawa playing receiver, even though he had been recruited as a quarterback. The coaching staff under Denny Piché wanted to get this great athlete on the field while waiting for his turn under center. So he has some experience there, but getting his first shot at the pro level.
Here they come again. There goes Glenn over the top. He's looking for Rob Cote, who wanted an interference call, but the MO for the Alouettes right now, bear down and come after Kevin Glenn.
Oh, absolutely. Kevin Glenn hopes he can get some more plays like this out of Brad Sinopoli. Phenomenal catch, one of 5 he had for 81 yards last week in his receiving debut in the Canadian Football League. Saw this one on highlights all week.
9th play of the drive, 2nd and 10. Good protection this time. Glenn looks end zone for Nick Lewis and overshoots him, covered by Chip Cox. That means that the best the Stampeders will do is a field goal, and the streak on the line. Rene Paredes comes out again, 7 for 7 on the season, riding a streak of 25 straight. CFL record is 30 in a row, set by Paul McCallum. Paredes has been money inside the 40-yard line. This one from the 32, kick is up, and make it 26 in a row. Stampeders are on the board, but they're a long way back. We'll need another 7 of those. Down 24-3. 28-year-old Rene Paredes, born in Venezuela, grew up in Miami, moved to Montreal, chases the number on his uniform. 30 field goals in a row set by Paul McCallum 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, Paredes coming off a season in which he led the Canadian Football League in field goal accuracy. Continues that consistency to open 2013.
Look out now, Brandon Whitaker head down. Demetrius Morley is there to meet him, but a 13-yard pickup for Brandon Whitaker, who scored the first touchdown in this game. And the Alouettes offense slicing and dicing right now, in the air, on the ground.
Watch the gash that they carve here for Brandon Whitaker. He doesn't have to slow down at all. Josh Burt seals off the backside. Everybody else pushes it out to the right. Huge run lane for the Alouette running back.
Calvillo this time. Will he go back to the air? 21-point lead. No, back on the ground again. Whitaker again. 5 Stampeders bring him down.
Well, when you're the Alouettes, you want to use that run game and get that going a little bit. Bear in mind, you've got your 2 longtime starting guards, Andrew Woodruff on the left side, Scott Flory on the right side, both out with injury right now. So you've got Michael Ola and Ryan Bauman starting there. Let them get a little bit of confidence in the run game instead of pass blocking. You see Brandon Whitaker, another Alouette, whose numbers are down a little bit in the early going this season, averaging just 4.2 yards a carry so far this season.
2nd down and 8. Calvillo airs it out. In and out of midst of S.J. Green, and so Sean White will come out and the Stampeders will get it back with 8:14 to go before halftime.
Important stop there for the Calgary defense as they try to regain a little bit of momentum in this football game.
Former special teams player of the year Larry Taylor when he was with Montreal a few seasons ago. Sean White. Again, the Stampeders were coming, could not get the block. Little backspin, went off the Stampeder. Larry Taylor was there, flags are there. Kevin Glenn comes back to operate again. His team in a big hole, down 24-3 Saturday night, Stampede City. The race of a lifetime has begun. Next stop, Vancouver on the Amazing Race Canada. Monday at 9, 8 Central on CTV. Olympic gold medalist and Amazing Race host, John Montgomery. Not much of a race here so far tonight. The Alouettes sprinting out of the gate. 4 straight possessions before that previous punt they had scored on. 24-3 they lead. Looking for revenge from the loss last week. Now a big hole opens for John Cornish. That's his biggest game tonight.
Calgary's using formations here to try and widen out the edge a little bit and flatten that defense. They got the tight end on one side, bring Nick Lewis in on the left. That gives another gap to defend and brings the linebacker Hebert down. Lewis turns him out, and look at the hole for John Cornish to run through. Nobody in behind because you're taking away that second level by adding gaps with extra men on the line of scrimmage.
First and 10, 13-yard gain. There's the pitch. Cornish again. Has daylight again. Tried the high hurdle and was shot down at midfield. 11-yard gain.
Calgary run game now starting to attack some different points. Getting it to Cornish. He gets a little jump start on that pitch from his quarterback, Kevin Glenn. Plenty of room outside the edge. The Alouettes caught pinching between the tackles on that.
First and 10 again. Close to Montreal territory. The blitz comes. Glenn delivers far side for his old battery mate in Hamilton, Marquay McDaniel, and there's a flag down. You can add 15 to this because Kevin Glenn got mashed again.
Well, Kyrus Hebert came on the blitz.
The passer, Montreal number 34. 15 yards at the end of the play. First down.
That's 2 on Kyrus Hebert tonight.
Seeing it at full speed, I thought this was a real close call. Hebert's the end man at the top of that line. He's unblocked as they've got them outnumbered. Ball just out of Kevin Glenn's hands. Hebert follows through on the hit. Costs him 15.
A net of 27. The Angry Bird is going to have to amp down a little bit here. Another drive that, aided by penalty, brings it close to the red zone. Play action twice. Rob Cote far side. Cote bashes his way inside the 20-yard line. First he got rid of Jeff Tisdale, and then kept Plowing away, Rob Cote, 12-yard pickup.
Cote doesn't get a lot of touches in this offense with all the weapons around him, but a versatile player. Fullback, plays a little bit of tight end, H-back kind of guy, former outstanding receiver in junior football before joining the Stamps. They get him in motion that time, does a terrific job picking up some yards after the catch.
Played his junior football in Victoria with the Rebels inside the red zone now. Glenn, the blitz again. Joe West now. West loses his lid, hangs on to the football. Joe West has been a touchdown maker for the Calgary Stampeders so far this season. 3 touchdowns. That leads the Stampeders through 3 games.
Rod, you're seeing pressure continue to come. Montreal loading it up, coming after Kevin Glenn. Mike Edom here. He's got to show a little bit better judgment after you see that call on Kairos Hebert. On that one, leave the quarterback alone. Don't risk a flag.
Key second down now for the Stampeders. They'd like to see Paredes get this streak, but they need touchdowns. Here they come again. He delivers it. And into the end zone. Is it a touchdown? No, they're ruling down at the 1-yard line. That would have been Anthony Parker's first CFL touchdown, but he's denied at the goal line.
Anthony Parker, a guy who made all sorts of highlights on this very field as a member of the University of Calgary Dinos. Parker versus Parker, Anthony against Billy on this one. Very nearly #1 for the 3rd overall pick in the 2011 CFL draft.
Now here's the rub. It's 1st and goal for the Calgary Stampeders, but the Montreal Alouettes, this is where they excel. Goal line stands, as we saw last week against the Stampeders.
Yeah, they sure did. Came up with a huge stand in this very situation against Calgary a week ago.
Oh, Levi Mitchell throws through the uprights and finds the receiver, Tim St. Pierre. But there's a penalty flag in the end zone. And will this count?
Offside. Montreal number 91. Penalties decline. Result of the play is a touchdown.
Yes, it will. Tim St. Pierre, former Eskimo fullback, guy who does some long snapping too, has a touchdown.
Yeah, this is a terrific play call from Dave Dickinson. Mixing it up. The Alouettes have been terrific over the last couple of years in these situations. They take a different tack to get on the board with a major.
In his 6th season in the CFL, 3 with Edmonton, 3rd with Calgary. There's where Tim St. Pierre normally is on special teams. He just had a special touchdown, his first ever CFL major.
Yeah, a guy who's used to doing the dirty work gets a little bit of glory on that one. Former outstanding linebacker at St. Mary's University in Halifax, who's become a fullback here in Calgary. Rewarded for his hard work on that play.
Suddenly the Stampeders are right back in this thing. Down 2 scores, but the momentum is theirs. Noel Devine gets tripped up. There's a penalty flag on the play at the 20-yard line. St. Pierre comes up limping on that special team coverage.
On the return, holding. Montreal number 43. Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Serious momentum turn here. Alouettes now have a long field. All the scoring in this game so far has come to this end zone. The teams with this win.
Well, very important for the Montreal Alouettes to change that trend, Rod. Stem the tide here as the Calgary Stampeders have completely turned this thing around.
Anthony Calvillo, who was 6 for 9 in that opening quarter, has not completed a pass in the second quarter so far. Closing in on the 3-minute warning. Brandon Whitaker gobbled up right there.
Somewhat limited options offensively for Anthony Calvillo. Given the field position, you want to play it safe.
The second down guys are S.J. Green and Jamel Richardson, who normally are 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 on second down conversions. The Alouettes this season, however, so far are dead last in the CFL in second down conversions. They need one here. Calvillo protected over the top, and hanging on and bringing it in is Jamel Richardson on a second down conversion that they needed. That's the 3-minute warning before halftime. Well, earlier tonight, Calgary sports scene tragically lost a legend. Billy Powers was amongst many things the news director at News Talk 7070, former media coordinator for the Stamps, retired in 2009 after almost half a century in the sports broadcasting and communications business. Today before the game, there was a moment of silence for Billy and his wife Donna Lee, who were tragically lost a few weeks ago. And seat number 1 in the McMahon press box will forever be dedicated to the memory of Billy Powers. 3-minute warning on the field. We'll come back to McMahon Stadium. .243 to go before halftime. The boys in the studio hanging out. GMC Live at the half. Dave Jock, Milt, Schultze. Coach Paul LaPolice, the coach's playbook. They'll be talking about the Alouettes and their offense, which has gone AWOL early in the season, has come alive here tonight. 24 points on the board. They lead 24-10. They'll also set you up for game 2 of our doubleheader tonight in BC, the Eskimos and Lions.
Well, the next step, Rod, for this Montreal Alouettes offense is consistency. They've had some good drives over the first few weeks of the season, haven't been able to sustain it for a full game. This is as good as they've looked at any point. They just need to keep it rolling.
Second down conversion time again, and Jamel Richardson spinning and hammered by Demetrius Morley, pushed back. The spot is going to be about 2 yards, almost 3 yards shy of a first down, and they will have to kick it back to Calgary.
A quick hitter here to Jamel Richardson, but this is what you've seen when he has made catches this season. A guy who is typically a pretty big yak yards guy, yards after the catch. Very limited in that department this season.
Calgary.
As we're seeing him get hit right away as soon as he catches the football.
Stampeders taking time out here. Mark Killam, the special teams boss for the Stampeders. John Hufnagel in the background. This week they were talking about the return game, and they really haven't busted a big one yet. Larry Taylor had that smile on his face, said, "I'm due." It's been some great special teams coverage so far in the early season across the league. Let's set up the return. Wobbly one. Sean White bounces now. Taylor now cuts it back, and he's got room here. Look out, Larry Taylor. Now he has to cut back, and again spins, and Taylor brings it close to the 50-yard line of the Alouettes.
Calgary offense wants to pick up where they left off with the last drive. Terrific string of plays called by offensive coordinator Dave Dickinson, spreading the football around. A little John Cornish on the ground. Many different receivers involved. Kevin Glenn has already used 9 different receivers in this ball game. Anthony Parker set it up at the goal line. Tim St. Pierre with his first touchdown, first major of the game for the Stampeders.
Now can the Stampeders put another major on the board before halftime? Little pitch out. Again to Marquay McDaniel. Daniel certainly has found a spot in this offense, really cast aside by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He did have some chemistry with Kevin Glenn when they played together as Ticat teammates.
Yeah, and these two refound that chemistry late last season, particularly the playoffs. West Division final against the BC Lions. They hooked up for a long touchdown early in that ball game that sort of set the tone en route to a Stampeder victory.
Pickup of 12, 1st and 10. Again, another crossing pattern, and once again, Nick Lewis normally needs 2 or 3 to bring him down.
Calgary Stampeders have found a way in this ball game to adapt and adjust to the pressure they were facing from the Montreal Alouette defense. Anytime in a passing situation, the Owls were loading it up, getting to Kevin Glenn, just outnumbering the blockers in the box with guys rushing the quarterback. But by making some plays against it on the last drive, the Stampeders have managed to take the Alouettes out of that a bit.
Gain of 7, play action to Cornish. He goes deep. Glenn this time. One-on-one coverage, and the catch almost made acrobatically by Joe West. Crowd wants an interference call. They're not getting it.
Well, Joe West, slow to get up. He's using his motion here. He's just going to hit it down that sideline, working against Billy Parker. Parker's right in the hip pocket. West unable to get any separation to surge to that football.
So now the streak. El Matador from the 40, almost the 41, his longest attempt. Kick is up. Is it good? It is. Make it 27 in a row. Longest of the season for Rene Paredes, and the streak continues. Well, he grew up in Venezuela dreaming of being a football star, just not North American football.
He looks right at home with what we call the soccer ball. Lots of tricks and skills there from the Stampeder kicker. Nonetheless, I think as he rides this streak, he knows he's found his niche with a slightly different shaped ball.
Great story of perseverance, too. Here is a young man who played soccer at a young age, went to Miami with his family, high school years, got called on to the football team. They liked his leg. Eventually, the family moved to Montreal. He went to a junior college there, then to Concordia. He was a Rookie of the Year. Gets called up to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, was working in a print shop at John Abbott College, was released by the Blue Bombers, went back and wanted to really work in the print shop. Then Rob Maver got hurt here, remember?
Yeah.
And then Rene Paredes got the call here, and the rest is history. The guy has been money, on the verge of a streak and a record. And now Anthony Calvillo is sacked for the first time tonight.
Sean Lemon, we talked about him off the top, needing to pick up the slack for Charleston Hughes. Lemon, the next best pass rusher on this Stampeder team, works the twist with Kevin Huntley, loops inside, buries Anthony Calvillo. Good penetration there by Huntley to open up that inside lane for Lemon.
So here it is again, another second down. The Stampeders could get the ball back again. If the Alouettes can't convert, there's Brandon Whitaker from the backfield. Here come the Stampeders. Up near the 35-yard line. He had to get to the 45-yard line, so they'll boot it away again. So Calgary has a minute to work with, and maybe we'll see Rene Paredes again, or Stampeder is looking to perhaps take it to the end zone. Now down 11.
Some discussion there, no doubt, about what Rene Paredes' range will be on this day with the win, as the Stampeders figure out just kind of what field position they need to get on this possession.
White. Ball in flight. Taylor. Nowhere to go. Well, Rene Paredes, his streak compared to Paul McCallum's 30-game streak is remarkably similar, but look at what he has done since giving up his print shop job.
And overall, especially since the start of last season, since he returned knowing that he had that job.
Control number 11. 15-yard penalty. First down.
49 of 52 from the start of last year. But if you look at the numbers, Paredes to the McCallum streak, remarkably similar. A lot of kicks inside the 40-yard line. Their average kick about 31.6 yards. And really, this streak coming on the back of another streak that McCallum set. Sean White had a streak a few years ago. A lot of teams don't kick the long field goals anymore. Might have one here before halftime. Nick Lewis. Let's go down to Jermaine.
Thanks, Rod. Rene Paredes, part of his success is that John Hufnagel doesn't put him in a position to fail. At the beginning or before every game, he has a warm-up. And there he determines his maximum distance. And he has two distances. His maximum distance with comfort and his maximum distance that he probably can make, but it's not a guarantee. He lets Hufnagel know before the game, and Hufnagel will not let him kick outside of that distance unless the game is on the line.
We'll see what happens here now. Clock ticking down, crossing pattern. It is another first down. Nick Lewis. Should also point out that Rene Paredes has now kicked 35 field goals in a row, if you include the playoffs, but the CFL record books do not include the postseason. So the record right now is 27 in a row. We might see him here shortly. 27 seconds to go before halftime.
Not bad for a guy who was undrafted in a draft that saw a number of kickers go in the first few rounds.
Glenn over the top. He has it in. And down inside the 10-yard line is Jabari Arthur. Arthur made a glorious return to his hometown of Montreal last week with a few catches. Jabari Arthur, another one of the Canadian non-import receivers making impact.
Jabari Arthur with a great move on the initial defender, jukes in, then out, gets himself in a little open space, and a beautiful strike thrown there in stride by Kevin Glenn.
Stamps would love to see Paredes get the streak, but they want to get the end zone here. 13 seconds. Glenn, end zone, and he had Arthur, but he was turning the other way. That had 6 written all over it.
We talked about Kevin Glenn getting back in that zone that he finished in last year. So we'll see Jabari Arthur come out of this bunch and come across the field. 15 of his last 17 last week, he's been in the zone here. And by the way, that catch completion to Jabari Arthur, that represents the 10th different receiver to catch a pass from Kevin Glenn here in the first half.
I'd say a pretty balanced attack. Last shot for the end zone. Glenn now has to dance. Time ticking down. He throws it up. End zone. Touchdown! Nick Lewis! With 2 seconds left before halftime. Another circus catch. Nick Lewis had a touchdown in Montreal off of a tip last week and took it to the house.
Well, I think darn near everybody in McMahon Stadium held their breath when Kevin Glenn threw this ball in this territory. Hung up there as Gerald Brown was closing on Nick Lewis. But Lewis went up. As you coach him, get the ball at the highest point and don't give the defender a chance.
So all the scoring has been to this north end. All the scoring has been with the win. 24 points by the Alouettes in the first quarter. And now the Calgary Stampeders lining up for 2. Trying to make this a 3-point game. Glenn in trouble, throws it up, and Brad Sinopoli goes high, can't come down with it. Crowd again wanted a flag, they don't get it. So it's a 5-point game, 24-19, still 2 seconds remain.
Calgary tries to flood the front side on this play. A number of receivers. Anthony Parker's going to go to the flat. Sinopoli's going to push a little bit deeper, giving Kevin Glenn 2 options on the front side. Parker gets covered on the short one. Glenn under pressure just takes a shot, but low percentage pass there.
Sinopoli wanted the call. Billy Parker draped all over him. Boy, what a topsy-turvy game this one is. All Alouettes, first 15. All Stampeders, this 15.
See who's got the wind in the fourth.
Yeah. There still is 2 seconds remaining. Paredes will kick it. Line drive. Devine. will do it for a very eventful first half of football. Crazy one here tonight. Alouettes come out storming. Rene Paredes keeps his streak going, and the Stampeders gallop back. 24-19 Montreal at the half here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Time now for GMC Live at the half. Let's send it to the studio.
Thanks a lot, Rod. Wow, what a game. It looked like we were going to have ourselves a blowout, and then Calgary takes over very quickly. Paul Lapolice with the GMC coach's playbook. Do you like that call by John Hufnagel to go for 2?
You know, usually there's a lot more time left in the game. I'd wait till later in the game to do that. Just get your points.
We'll talk about Calgary with the boys in the next segment, but we have to talk about the arrival of Montreal's offense. This is a team that was struggling to score points. They come out gangbusters in the first quarter. What did you see from them in that opening quarter that we haven't seen in the first 3 weeks?
You know, they did some play action where they got the ball outside on the edge, but they did a great bunch package that really allowed them to get a leverage advantage. And let's talk about what a leverage advantage is. When you're doing this, Anthony does a great job recognizing it's man coverage because he sees the low players, and then it's now 2 deep man under. So now you've got 4 players. I want you to concentrate on those players to the field. When they're playing what we call banjo, which is in and out, the outside man player is going to take the outside route. The inside player is now going to take the route that breaks in. But unfortunately, Montreal and S.J. Green break out. So now the inside player is in a position that he cannot win. Watch what happens. He's inside, can't cover an outside breaking route. That's great game planning here. Frees up S.J. so he doesn't get in a position where the guy can jam him. He's got a free run downfield, and it's a really well-executed play, I felt.
Remember, they started the game with a lackluster 2-0. We all looked at each other in here, thought it was going to be another one of those nights. What do you think took these Als and this new coaching staff so long to start showing this type of execution?
You know, maybe Anthony's getting more involved in the game planning, because when you look at it, this looks like the stuff when I was the head coach of Winnipeg. I used to go, good Lord, he completed another one on us. You know, yeah, what's going on with this? And, you know, he's getting the ball out on the edge. It's still quick throws, but he's using his legs a little bit more. And he's not really running, but he's using that to throw the football downfield.
Paul Lapolice in the GMC coach's playbook. S.J. Green has 3 catches on AC's 4 touchdown passes this season. There's one, and it's a ball game, 24-19. This is the CFL on TSN. Don't forget, this is just game 1 of a doubleheader. Game 2 is under the big top in Vancouver. Travis Lule and Mike Riley, 2 old buddies, used to be teammates, now facing one another tonight. That is game 2 of our Saturday night doubleheader. It is 24-19 in game number 1. Montreal over Calgary. Back with Chris Schultz, Milt Stiegel, and Jock Climby. So the Alouettes scored 24 points in the first quarter. First time they've scored 24 in 1 quarter since October 2010 when they did it against Calgary. And then Calgary answers back with 19 in the second. Milton, are you more surprised that Calgary came out so flat, or that they were able to flick the switch and turn this thing around?
Oh, the fact that they came out flat was very surprising. And I say that for a couple of reasons. First of all, they're playing at home. They're playing in front of their crowd. Second of all, they're playing against a hungry team, Montreal. They know they need a win, but Calgary comes out flat. Kevin Glenn throws an interception. They're missing tackles. They're missing blocks, allowing their quarterback to get smacked in the face. They're dropping balls. They're doing everything they shouldn't do. But to their credit, they came out in that second quarter and they really showed what they're capable of doing. John Cornish got going. Kevin Glenn found 10 different receivers. They had a total of 17 yards in that first quarter, but they came out in that second quarter and they really showed some great things, Schultz.
Well, let's continue to talk a little bit about Kevin Glenn, because this has been pretty impressive. His second quarter of this half has been outstanding. And what he did extremely well, he's able to get the feel for the blitzing linebackers and the secondary pressure packages of the Montreal Alouettes. Watch how close this is. Kevin Glenn's going to take the ball. He's going to feel the pressure on his left side, throw to the right side. Joe West gets it. Positive play. Once again, this time the pressure will be right there, right towards him. He finds a slanting receiver. Nice job. Right down to the 1-yard line. Hey, I got to say it. Kevin Glenn, you come back and you win this game after being down 24-0. Maybe he should be the starter for the Calgary Stampeders.
Don't forget Bo Levi. He's not bad either, but they're pretty deep in that position. Let's get back to Montreal, because their reemergence as offensive powers, at least for 1 quarter, is a story. Jock here looked at film this week. You did say you looked at film, and what did you see that Lapo didn't show in the playbook?
Well, it's amazing when you can actually sit and watch game film the same way coaches can break down the film. And in the game prep, I made a list of all the things that the Alouettes were not doing that they were doing in years past under Trestman. And one of the things is this play right here. It's called the zone read, where Anthony Cabillo has the option to hand the ball off or to pull it as he's doing here, semi-roll, and get the ball out of his hands quick. That, along with the bunch formation that Lapo already showed, they're running screen plays, they're running quick hitters, and their running game is working over 5 yards a carry. Lots of things happening differently for the Alouettes in this game.
All right, so it's a 5-point game, not a 4-point game, as they missed the 2-point convert. Don't forget, you've been hearing Rush throughout the first half. You're going to hear some more of it. And this is why it was announced this week that Rush is doing a benefit concert to raise funds for Alberta flood relief. It's this Wednesday in Red Deer. You can order tickets by phone or through Ticketmaster. Good on you, Rush. All proceeds going to flood relief.
I can't stop thinking big. I can't stop thinking big.
What a catch! Ashtray Green, a touchdown!
You want a closer look, but the naked eye can only see so much. Squinting doesn't help, and binoculars are big, bulky, and expensive. Introducing Zoomies, the compact, hands-free, high-power binoculars you wear like sunglasses. Zoomies gives you instant 300% magnification that brings everything up close. Look closer. Zoomies binoculars utilize the same vision magnification technology of expensive, high-power binoculars and condenses it into microvision lenses that adjust easily with a turn of the focus dial and magnify up to 300%. With Zoomies, you'll enjoy Mother Nature up close. You'll be so close to the action, you'll feel the excitement. And you'll have a front row view of the big game, even from the cheap seats. Holding heavy binoculars is tiring on your arms and heavy on your neck. But Zoomies binoculars are so light, you'll forget you even have them on. And when your head follows the action, so does Zoomies hands-free. You can even switch on the sunshade to eliminate glare without switching to sunglasses. And they're the clear choice of bird watchers, hunters and outdoorsmen, sports fans, and anyone who leads an active lifestyle. You'll be amazed at what you've been missing. They're great for reading books and fine print in newspapers. You'll love them for hobbies, arts and crafts, sewing and stitch work. And they turn any TV into a big screen TV. And best of all, they fold and store easily in shirt pocket or purse.
You can pay $200 for bulky binoculars, or you can get Zoomies at the factory direct price of only $14.95. Order now and get this handy neck lanyard and travel storage bag absolutely free. But wait, order now and we'll double the offer and send a second complete set free. Just pay separate shipping and handling. That's 2 complete sets of Zoomies binoculars for just $14.95. See what you've been missing and zoom in on the action with Zoomies. Here's how to order. To order Zoomies, please call 1-800-806-8495 or order online at buyzoomies.ca.
Back at McMahon Stadium, getting ready for the second half. If it's anything like the first half, buckle up, everybody. 24-19 Montreal over the Stampeders. And their fierce running back, John Cornish, who was with Jermaine Franklin.
John, can you talk about the differences in the Stampeder offense from the first quarter to the second quarter?
You know, I don't really think we made too many adjustments, but we sort of settled down, you know, let ourselves relax a little bit. I think we were a little bit too tight in the first quarter to, you know, really play against the Montreal's energy. They came out really fired up.
How much did your success have to do with the four carries for 30 yards?
I don't know how much I personally contributed, but I think I'm more contributing on blocking. You know, they've brought a lot of blitzes, and we picked most of them up. Like KG makes his throws, and you know, we've been moving the ball that way.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.
Just a moment ago, not sure what this is all about. Little trash talk going on before the third quarter. Juwan Simpson getting into the kitchen of Sean White. I don't know if it was a friendly bet. Look at him.
Yeah, White's just out there taking his warm-up kicks. Juwan Simpson's waiting for the second half meeting of the captains. You're going to bug a kicker while I'm here. Sean White, a veteran, successful kicker in his own right. Didn't look too bothered by it as he hit a couple from 50 yards in front of Simpson.
So again, we talked earlier about 2 different quarters. How all the scoring was with the wind. Calgary will have the wind in this third quarter. Whether it's a factor or not, it's starting to pick up a little bit. The scoring has been towards the north end zone, towards the left side of your screen. So Calgary gets the ball here, wants to initiate here, down 5 heading into the second half, and Larry Taylor has a great scamper up near the 46-yard line. A 33-yard return from Larry Taylor.
Tremendous start to the second half there. Great finish to the first half for Calgary as Kevin Glenn ended up with 160 yards through the first 30 minutes. John Cornish just 30 yards on the ground, but as you heard, very important in terms of the blocking schemes. Nick Lewis, old reliable, 5 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown.
And as the guys in the studio were talking about Kevin Glenn, magical comeback this could be if he can bring his team to a W. Down 24 at one point. Cornish had the right side, decided to cut back inside. It's a gain of about 4 or 5. The key for the Stampeders: blitzed, harassed, agitated. Kevin Glenn, the entire first half, his ability to find those little checkdowns, those little dump outs.
Yeah, no question about it. Through the first 30 minutes, I think that was more of a factor than the wind, was what Montreal was doing defensively and Calgary's early struggles with it. But a few adjustments. Kevin Glenn figured it out, as you mentioned, the guys in the studio mentioned, getting the ball out quickly and picking things up in terms of blocking scheme as well.
5 receivers set. Glenn now, he's going to get buried. Another Montreal sack here. Again, keep in mind, Kevin Glenn was sacked 6 times last week, but the Stampeders still won the football game.
In this case, it's not a matter of anybody coming completely free on the rush, so much as the Owls just doing a good job of collapsing the pocket, driving everybody down into the face of Kevin Glenn. Not a big quarterback. When things get a little bit tight, it becomes very difficult for him to see downfield.
Both Larry Taylor and Noel Devine have had some outstanding returns here. Nothing has been broken. Been able to find some seams. Rob Maver will lift this one near his 35-yard line. High towering kick. Devine near his 10. And meets a gang of red at the 21-yard line. Anthony Calvillo basically shut out in that second quarter. Back at the helm when we come back to Calgary. 24-19 in Montreal. First quarter, Alouettes. Second quarter, Stampeders.
And here's some of Montreal's offensive numbers. Most of those accumulated through the first 15 minutes of this ball game. Anthony Calvillo looking well in sync with his receivers. 167 passing yards, including a touchdown pass to S.J. Green, who had 103 of those yards. Brandon Whitaker and Jerome Messam combining to get things going on the ground a little bit as well.
Jerome Messam getting a touch, and again Messam getting a touchdown. An Achilles heel so far this season for the Alouettes. Very uncharacteristic of them. And again, new regime under Dan Hawkins. They're still trying to get their rhythm. But right now, in third quarters through 3 games, they have been awful.
Well, again, trends through the first 3 games are something the Montreal Alouettes need to erase. Very good in the first quarter of this football game. Strung together a number of drives. They need to be the first team to do it against the wind in this ball game.
Stampeders shut them out a week ago. Again, only 2 points through 3 games. Cumulative. Almost unheard of from an Alouette team in the past few years. Again, one of the powerhouses, the CFL East. S.J. Green collects that. Like the spot is going to be the 31-yard line, and they have to get to the 33.
They'll call for the measurement here. This is tough field position in which to decide to take a gamble if you're the Montreal Alouettes, but what's running through their mind right now is in this quarter against the wind, first of all, they want to keep Calgary's offense off the field. They want to give Calgary a chance to run as few offensive plays as possible.
It's like a long
yard.
Yeah, long yard.
It'd be a gutsy call to go for it. they're gonna.
They are going to. Now, Brandon Whitaker is coming out. Last week, they used Brandon Whitaker in third down situations, short yardage. This is more than short yardage right now. So Calvillo stays in. It's very interesting formation. A few times last week, Brandon Whitaker taking the snaps for the third down lunge. So this is a big gamble here. It's third and a long yard. Calvillo is going to stay in shotgun here. He's got the power back behind him, though, and Jerome Mesa, who takes the football and is stuffed. Duron Mayo stands him up and puts him down. I know what you're thinking. You never like when a quarterback lines up in shotgun 3rd and 1.
Well, no, I mean, you're taking the snap a number of yards back. And actually is limiting how much of a head of steam the running back's even getting before he gets the football, but it becomes somewhat predictable in terms of what's going to happen on the play. I didn't like the decision to go for it, given how long a yard that was, given where they are in terms of field position, given the situation in the ball game. A case where I can say without hesitation I would have punted the football.
First turnover, this one on downs by the Alouettes. Calgary Stampeders take over the football here. Duron Mayo in a huge stuff. Jerome Mesa.
After the play, objectionable conduct. Montreal, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Not sure what that was about, but unnecessary at the time. Now right into the red zone.
Yeah, and based on where the flag was, it seems like the issue came from the bench, whether it was a player, whether it was a coach. The flag was thrown near the Montreal bench as the Owls dig themselves into even more of a hole.
Stampeders now threatening after the turnover. Glenn shotgun now. Protection, backfield. Cornish tries to spin. Met right there by Chip Cox and company.
A great stop there in space. One-on-one against the shifty John Cornish by Chip Cox, the Alouettes nickel or strong side linebacker. See number 11 Cox in the middle of your screen, fights through a little bit of traffic. Great feet to settle down as Cornish tried to cut back inside on him.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Sinopoli wide left, just outside your screen. Glenn's looking right though. He's going for the end zone, takes a shot. Looking for Nick Lewis, way overthrown. So again, here comes Rene Paredes.
Well, they're looking to create a little bit of confusion with the two receivers on that side of the field. Markway McDaniel, the outside man, he's going to stay short. Nick Lewis is going to push deep. Nobody stays with McDaniel short. Both defenders end up going with Nick Lewis, taking away any shot of a completion on that one.
He's not missed a field goal. McMahon Stadium. It's 2011, has a streak of 27 in a row. This from the 29-yard line. Kick is up and it continues. Make it 28. Rene Paredes, 2 away from tying the CFL record for consecutive field goals. Rene Paredes, the streak continues. Has made 28 straight field goals and 1 busted camera lens.
Just minor damage.
Was aiming for the camera. In the crosshairs. Parents watching, I'm sure, back in Montreal. Rene Sr., his mom Roxana. Oh, tip drill, juggle catch. S.J. Green, was it inbounds? They're calling it's a completed pass.
Complete or incomplete, the Alouettes dodge a bullet regardless, as this one was very nearly 6 going the other way. It's going to be a quick strike here to the outside. Brandon Smith did a nice job coming underneath it, but just couldn't squeeze that one.
Calvillo scrambles out of trouble. First down.
Well, Anthony Calvillo proved to be a little bit more elusive than Juwan Simpson thought in the backfield. Simpson was the man who came free and had a shot at him, but just overran the Alouette quarterback in the backfield. Calvillo, of course, not known as much of a scrambler. Really a guy who runs strictly out of necessity.
First and 10 now. 2-point ball game. Little misdirection reverse. Brandon Whitaker able to get some yardage there. Looked like he was going to be stopped for a loss. May have got back to the line of scrimmage.
One of the unsung heroes for the Calgary Stampeders is you see this defense get to Brandon Whitaker. Man on the left in white, Rick Campbell, defensive coordinator of the Calgary Stampeders, son of CFL legend Hugh Campbell.
One of the legends of the game, Hugh Campbell. Long-time boss north of here in Edmonton with the Eskimos. Calvillo, good protection this time. Now flings it out long, and it's almost picked off. It should have been by Quincy Butler. He knows he had a pick.
Long throw, and you saw Calvillo kind of chuck this when he turned as he threw this one up. Quincy Butler makes the long run to get to it. S.J. Green, number 3 receiver, out to the field here. Right down the hash into the corner. Had great separation from Butler, but that one hung up, allowing the defensive back to break underneath.
Sean White almost blocked. Almost. He got hit too, but no penalty flag. He kind of sold that at the other side. Larry Taylor returns it to the 24. Sean White knocked down. Little chuckle. Maybe embellished a little bit. 24-22 outs. Time to update our sack tally, brought to you by Purolator. Tackling hunger across Canada. Check. And the Montreal Alouettes close to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 16 sacks on the season.
Of course, those two teams had that week 2 matchup where it seemed like nobody was blocking any pass rushers, stoking both their totals a little bit.
Sacks to 1 tonight. Stampeders 7.5 to go third quarter. Have crept within 2. They were down 24-0. Direct snap. Now the reverse. And there goes Anthony Parker. Parker. Big gain here. Gadget play that works, and a penalty flag as he was brought down. There could be more yardage added on here, or is this going against Calgary?
Once again, we're number tonight, A1206556.
After the first down was gained, holding. Calgary number 81. 10-yard penalty from the spot. First down.
Jabari Arthur. Anthony Parker, he's going to get a lot more action and touches here tonight because Joe West is on the sideline. He's banged up. The wounded list continues to grow for the Stampeders.
You see at the top of the screen the hold against the receiver Jabari Arthur on the play. But yeah, absolutely a great opportunity here for Anthony Parker, number 3 overall pick for this team a couple seasons ago. Still looking for a breakthrough.
His dad played with the Stampeders back in 1990, and now Glenn has to fling it. He does. Downfield, open man. Marquay McDaniel as Kevin Glenn made something out of nothing. How in the world did he do that? But look, Kevin Glenn is hurt.
Well, this epitomizes the courage of Kevin Glenn, that he stood in there and made this throw because he knew he was going to get lit up on the play. Keeps it alive here, and right here he knows he's got him coming both ways.
Oh my goodness.
Aaron Laverius is coming. He's coming right in Glenn's face. He knows he's there. It's not a blindside hit, but he stands in and makes the throw to make this play for his team.
Watch Laverius come right out of here. Listen in. field goal after a 45-yard long toss from Kevin Glenn. It's very close to being a horse collar tackle as well. So now Bo Levi Mitchell is going to have to come into this game as Kevin Glenn is nursing his right hand, his throwing arm.
Tough to tell whether the issue is just that hand or up higher in his shoulder, causing him some tingling all the way down his arm.
You said the right word, though. Courage. Kevin Glenn. This is a guy who has continuously had obstacles thrown in front of him in his CFL career. Still comes up throwing. Still becomes a go-to guy. So now he goes to the sideline. We'll get an update from Jermaine. See Drew Tate. He's also dressed, but he's nursing a strained forearm, unable to go. So Bo Levi Mitchell comes in. There's a ball that's a one-hopper. Let's go down to the injury update MASH unit. Here's Jermaine.
Thanks, Rod. Joe West appears to injured his arm on that passing play to the end zone. He did not come up with the ball. He is on the sideline with an ice pack on his shoulder and his right arm in a sling. He is obviously done for the game. An update on Kevin Glenn hopefully is coming soon.
Joe West has been a big play guy for the Stampeders. They already are missing Mo Price out with a hamstring injury. Price should be back next week for Winnipeg. Now Anthony Parker again getting more touches here, a former star in this stadium with the Calgary Dinos, and Kevin Glenn being looked at here. This is a team that is really deep at quarterback, and you know when you need, it's good to be deep at quarterback when the injuries start to pile up.
Well, listen, the Canadian Football League, there are plenty of times you're throwing the football as a quarterback 30, 40 times a game. Oftentimes you're going to get forced to scramble. Oftentimes you're going to get hit in the pocket. Regardless, over the course of a season, odds are you're going to have to rely on more than one guy if you're going to be successful. Calgary Stampeders already on to quarterback number 3. And this, by the way, puts Brad Sinopoli in the situation of becoming, for now, the backup or emergency quarterback for the Stamps.
We saw Drew Tate with the football, but John Hufnagel told us yesterday that his third-string quarterback, should the other two get hurt in this scenario, who would have thought it might play out, would be Brad Sinopoli.
Yeah, quarterback for his first 2 years in the Canadian Football League, moved to receiver this year.
1st and 10 now. Keep it on the ground. Cornish shreds one. Now John Cornish has an opening. Down near the sideline. Cuts back. Whipped out of bounds near the 10-yard line. John Cornish's best run of the night. 23-yard scoot.
A little bit of sloppy tackling right at the line of scrimmage by the Alouettes. Looks like a couple of defenders bumped each other off of a shot at the ball carrier. Nice little flavor of the sounds down in the trenches there.
Larry Taylor goes wide right. Cornish backfield. Anthony Parker in motion. So too is Rob Cote. Tight end package here. There's the blitz. Bo Levi gives it off to Cornish. He scores! Touchdown, Calgary! The Stampeders have come all the way back to lead this game.
Nice bit of misdirection with the motion as the receivers Cote and Parker change left to right. Cornish sneaks out backside on the left, and you see no Alouette defender followed out that way. They assumed that was going to be the backside of the play, and Cornish is just going there to block. Well executed. You gotta love when your backup quarterback can come in like that, keep a drive going.
Again, keeping the math alive here. John Hufnagel will go for 2. 28-24. Bo Levi Mitchell, that's his second touchdown pass of the night. One to Tim St. Pierre, one to John Cornish. 2 points. Incomplete. The Calgary Stampeders down 24-0. Now lead this game 28-24 in the third quarter. This end zone on the north side is getting worn out. John Cornish hasn't scored since week 1.
Billy Power and his wife. Huge part of Calgary, Stampeder history. That one's for y'all.
Dedicated to Billy Powers and his wife.
You saw the motion here. Rob Cote, Anthony Parker. John Cornish sneaks up to the line. Looks like he's going to block. Then slips it out into the flat. Entire defense crashing down on Kevin Glenn, thinking that it's going to be slide protection to the right.
Noel Devine near his goal line. His field has been tilted here tonight. Right to left. Devine's got a good return. Noel Devine could go here. There he goes. 30-foot race. Will he be caught? And yes, he is. The ball is fumbled. Calgary has it in the end zone.
What a play by Fred Bennett. Outstanding play by Fred Bennett.
What could have and should have been a touchdown, Montreal, instead is a fumble. A knockout by Fred Bennett.
Great heads-up football play. Bennett, the man on the outside. First of all, he's the guy that turns this play in, but then he's got to chase it down. The effort to hustle and run down Devine, but then the presence of mind as he gets there to pop that ball loose and create a turnover.
Fred Bennett. A punch out. The old saying is never, ever give up. It would have been very easy to put the sails up and let Noel Devine go, and Fred Bennett had no intent on that. Stampeders taking complete control of this game since the second quarter on. Cornish still running. John Cornish again. Starting to light it up tonight, right into the kicking net on the sideline, and now John Bowman into it. Elicits a flag.
Frustration setting in for the Montreal
Alouettes. Look at this. We got a
point.
big scrap going here in the sideline. It's not over. They're still going at it. Frustration certainly from the Montreal Alouettes, who have seen a 24-0 lead evaporate.
Hebert, the man who takes down Cornish. Cornish had the hand in the face mask, some pushing and shoving between those guys. John Bowman gets involved. As the flag goes up, even players out of uniform for Calgary getting involved there, which could create an issue as well.
Well, this is what happens, too, on the back end of back-to-backs.
You got 2 weeks of ill will building up.
After the play, major foul. Montreal number 7. 15 yards at the end of the play. First down.
Alouettes have seen so much nylon thrown against them here tonight. Penalties have allowed the Stampeders on some of those drives in the second quarter to continue to let them get back in the game.
Dan Hawkins has got to get things settled down over there on the Alouette sideline. All the momentum's going against them, but you've still got a close football game with plenty of time left.
Levi Mitchell. Tall Texan. Far side. Little hitch screen. Larry Taylor. Now let's go to the sideline again. Once again, Jermaine.
Thanks, Rod. Kevin Glenn has appeared to suffer an elbow or a forearm injury. The team has massaged it with the ultrasound deep tissue massage instrument. Kevin Glenn did give it one try. He threw one ball to Jabari Arthur on the sidelines and immediately stopped, shook his hand. They're still working on him as we speak, but it doesn't look good right now.
So the game now is in the hands of Bo Levi Mitchell, the 23-year-old. Played at Eastern Washington, so at Southern Methodist. A guy who comes in with great credentials. In fact, one of the things about Calgary having so many quarterbacks is that That expansion draft is coming up, and the Ottawa Redblacks are going to be eyeing up a quarterback. You can only protect one. Don't think for a moment that Bo Levi Mitchell isn't going to be one of those fish that's in the water, one of those big ones.
Well, looking at that part of the picture, a lot of speculation as to which quarterback the Calgary Stampeders will protect when the time comes, because they sure love the potential of Bo Levi Mitchell. Getting the signals there from his offensive coordinator, Dave Dickinson. Depth again at the quarterback position, so important in this league. Drew Tate again, the starter, number 4 on the sidelines, out of the lineup, dealing with some tendonitis in his throwing arm.
What a gamer, though. Still has that mask on, helmet. This is a 3rd down gamble now, 3rd and 1. Bo Levi Mitchell, right side, ducks in, and now he's off. Sprints down the sideline, and Bo Levi Mitchell's brought down by Chip Cox. And it's all going wrong right now for the Montreal Alouettes.
And again, credit the Calgary Stampeders. Had some trouble in terms of short yardage. Last week, Mitchell's going to, instead of trying to go into the teeth of this defense, pulls the ball, takes it around the edge. We saw them in a goal line play earlier. Put the ball in the air to Tim St. Pierre rather than run into the teeth of the defense. Would be an unpredictable in short yardage as a cure for last week's struggles.
Dave Dickinson, such a star quarterback in the CFL in his time in Calgary and BC. Bo Levi Mitchell takes over the controls here. John Cornish running wild here in the second half. He's going to score. Touchdown, John Cornish. Last week he was nullified for the most part. His fire has been lit here tonight.
Sure has. Cornish turns this one back. Backside, sees a little bit of opening. Alouette defender had a shot at him near the line of scrimmage, but Cornish runs through that arm tackle.
Paradise puts the extra point through. Suddenly the Calgary Stampeders taking it to the Alouettes. They now lead by 11. Last minute, 3rd quarter. Dan Hawkins cannot believe it. Well, unless the trend continues towards this end zone, Montreal has a lot of work to do here.
Montreal Alouettes coming apart in every which way since the end of the first quarter of this ballgame.
Bo Levi Mitchell. You would have thought it would have been a precursor earlier. He was really only in short yardage. Second quarter came in through a pass to Tim St. Pierre, and now it's his game to finish. He's looked good. Stampeders have looked great since the second quarter onward. Little oxygen for John Cornish.
See Cornish 92 yards on the ground, approaching his game average of just over 100.
Cornish talked about the fact he was trailing Corey Sheets of Saskatchewan heading into week 4 in the rushing race. Said no worries. Still ahead of last year's pace. Now he still is even ahead. More ahead of last year's pace. Based on his performance tonight, and it's not done yet. 1-800-OXYGEN.
John Cornish sporting a good little battle scar across the nose. I suspect that came from the tussle with Kyrus Hebert on the sideline.
Thing is, the Alouettes are still so much in this ballgame. They've become unraveled.
Lots of time to go.
Penalty flags fly. Eric Delorier brings this one in from Anthony Calvillo. Under 30 to go, 3rd quarter, but again, all of the scoring unbelievably has been at one end of the field. And I know there's a wind out there.
Montreal number 19. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
But it's not that big of a win.
It hasn't seemed to affect the teams a ton throwing the football. Sometimes it's difficult to tell from up here, but impact is sure showing on the scoreboard. All the points scored at one end of the field.
And that's a lot of points, by the way. So the Alouettes, their only good news right now is they're going to change ends in 8 seconds. S.J. Green. 8-yard pickup. Still needs 7 yards for a first down. 121 yards for S.J. Green. Now his team down. Alouettes started scoring just like last week, 7-0. S.J. Green, great catch. Looked good early on.
Here they find themselves faced again, though, Rod, with a 2nd and long.
Here's the rush. Calvillo's in trouble. Ducks one. Sidearm. That should have been an interference call. It is. Fred Bennett. There's a late flag. Official on the sideline couldn't get it out of his pocket soon enough. It clearly looked like interference.
Yeah, Bennett had to come over the back. Delorier to break that one up.
Fred Bennett, who's had one of the plays of the game, maybe the TSN turning point. That one is
pass interference.
Interference.
Number 8. Spotted the foul. First down.
First down. Clock is at 0. Will they call the quarter?
5 rule is a 10-yard penalty. First down.
So 1 play to go here for the termination of the 3rd quarter.
The quarter that the Alouettes don't think can end soon enough.
Stunning. 24-0. That was shocking to the fans in Calgary. Imagine what the Montreal fans must be thinking right now. 35 in a row. Last play, 3rd quarter. Slant inside. Quincy Butler knocks it down. Jamel Richardson can't grab it. Trash talking continues. Right now the Stamps in full motor. John Cornish, a night of nights again. Stampeders lead 35-24. Three quarters complete tonight in Calgary on TSN and ESPN2. How do you say turnaround? Montreal Alouettes turnaround is fleeting. They scored 24 in the first quarter. Calgary scored 35. The Alouettes in 4 games have only scored 2 points through 4 games. That's almost unheard of for this team.
Yeah, this team's going to need to learn to become strong finishers in a hurry here. What's gone on over the course of the last 2 quarters, regardless of wind or any other factor in this football game, they've got to find a way to turn the momentum, and the body language on the bench is not encouraging.
Again, the only thing encouraging is the trend here. All the points scored to this side of the field. Arland Bruce got a touch early in this ball game, but nothing since. Really, Calgary's had possession of the football. And again, the kick team comes out.
You saw Montreal go with the aggressive play right away. The second they had that wind at their backs, Arland Bruce just tried to time up his push off a little bit on the defender, Bennett. He just waited just a little bit too late and was unable to get to the ball.
Alouette team off to its worst start since 2007. No answers right now. Larry Taylor on the fly. Taylor, what a cut! Larry Taylor kicks it outside. Now gets a couple blocks, another big return. Penalty flag go back at the 50-yard line. This could be coming back. Mr. Electricity brings up the volume again. This one will come back.
On the return, holding. Calgary number 7. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Yard return negated.
That's Eric Fraser working against Marco Bruyette. Just holds on a little bit too long. Bruyette tries to come off and make a play on Taylor.
Stampeders could certainly put the hammer down here, though, early in the fourth. Bo Levi Mitchell's the quarterback here. Kevin Glenn's hurt. Drew Tate unavailable. This pass way behind Brad Sinopoli, not even close. Let's go to the sideline once again. Another busy guy down there tonight is Jermaine Franklin.
Rod, that incident between John Cornish and Kyrie Bear in the third quarter completely decimated the practice net for Rene Paredes, and it may not be a big deal in other times, but he is going for the record. So enough props to the Stampeders staff, John Carr to be specific, who within minutes replaced it with an old net, and hopefully no other players run into this one, because it could hurt this time.
Yes, it could. Thank you, Jermaine. Top of the ball down there. Anthony Parker didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be third down. Again, lots of time here.
Parker gets a rude introduction there to Shea Emery. Big defensive stop from the Owls' middle linebacker.
Frustrating night. Rob Maver. Almost blocked. Referee looked like he wanted to throw the flag there, did not. And into the other net on the far side. Shea Emery, the hitman. Needs a few more of those, but the Alouettes need points right now in Calgary.
Almost a full quarter still to go in Calgary. Don't forget, game number 2 is Emmanuel Arsenault, and the Lions trying to dance to a third straight win. They're taking on the Eskimos. That's game 2.
Back here in Calgary, Anthony Calvillo still trying to grasp the new play calling, the new system. Great start. Not so much lately.
Yeah, 6 of 9, 145 passing yards in that first quarter. Since then, 6 of 11, only 40 yards through the air for the Owls offense.
Still, his team now has to play comeback. Flag flies. Calvillo goes over the top looking for Brandon London. First time we mentioned his name tonight. Another penalty flag downfield. So we'll see what comes of this.
Well, Quincy Butler clearly grabbed the arm of Brandon London, preventing him from reaching for that football. So that'll be the second flag.
Forward pass interference. Calgary. Ball will be spotted at the point of the foul. First down.
Well, apparently the first flag was picked up. Keep an eye on the bottom left corner of your screen. As the ball comes in, watch the right arm of Brandon London. As Quincy Butler's got him hooked. Maybe the break the Alouettes need to try and get back in this football game.
Have not scored since the first quarter. Quarter they absolutely dominated. Steamrolled. Brandon Whitaker. The touchdown early on. Have not mentioned much about the Alouettes offense. They haven't had the football.
Dan Hawkins, a guy who's big on some of the basics in terms of a ball control type offense. Avoid the turnovers. Likes to see good drives put together. Recognizes that you need the big plays sometimes, but likes to see an efficient, well-constructed drive.
Arlen Bruce, top of your screen. Calvillo looks over to him. Will he go to him? No, he looks left. Calvillo, end zone, and it's a touchdown. Brandon Whitaker. Penalty flag, though, at the 8-yard line. Brandon London was on his backside. Was this a bit of a rub play here? The freed up Whitaker. If it was, it's coming
Forward
back.
pass interference. Montreal number 14. 10 yards. Second down.
Yes, it was.
Well, Brandon London's job on this play, he's going to be the single receiver to the short side of the field. His job on this play is to figure out who's covering Whitaker as he comes out of the backfield, and he's got to get in the way of that defender, but he's got to sell it and make it look like he's just running his route. And this one, a little bit too obvious. They got the look they wanted. Typically, you're going to go to the upfield shoulder. Force that player to bubble under, but they even got the defender to come underneath and put himself in worse position.
A lot of points, a lot of penalties tonight. Calvillo, down he goes. Sean Lemon in on the gang sack. Making a Calvillo sandwich in the backfield.
You see those two defensive ends. Cordero Law from the top, Sean Lemon from the bottom. And then, as you said, you've got a whole bunch of Stampeders sharing that sack.
Well, the best the Owls will be able to do right now, Sean White field goal. His longest of the season, 42, was made earlier. This is now the longest attempt. 47, it's up and it is good, but there's a penalty flag back at the 36-yard line. It's a big field goal here if it does count, because it makes it a one-possession game, an 8-point game. Monte Bolden is the injured Calgary Stampeder. Some serious pain here.
It looked like Bolden went down late after the kick.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Calgary 96, 15-yard penalty, first down.
So the guy who had the injury also was the guilty party, and that keeps everything alive, the drive alive. So the field goal is wiped off the board. The Alouettes will continue marching here.
Well, DeMonte Bolden lines up. He's the nose tackle. He lines up right on the long snapper. Martin Vidal for the Alouettes. Lined up just offset, but he's going to charge right at that snapper. Watch the hands come up to the face here as he drives them back. But it's the hands to the face that get him the flag. We're not really sure what went on after that led to the injury.
Referees have a powwow here.
That Calgary defensive line has gone through so many injuries already this season on the interior. Kevin Huntley came into the lineup when Micah Johnson suffered an injury to his oblique muscle. Corey Mace out with a torn labrum. He's done for the season. So Huntley's in, Bolden's down right now, which brings Junior Turner, the Bishop's product, into the lineup.
Stampeders have been ravaged by injury. Yet still tonight have a chance to stretch their early season record to 3-1. Still 11 minutes to go. That penalty could be a costly one here should the Alouettes be able to find the end zone. Fresh set of downs at the 24. Whitaker tackled by Justin Phillips. Half the first down yardage.
Alouettes change up that personnel package. We've seen them a number of times on first down in this ball game. Bring in the extra offensive lineman playing as a tight end. Christian Matt takes over that role with Ryan Bauman moving in as a starting guard.
Calvillo again to the end zone, and no one is there. No one is close.
But the conversation after the play is between Brandon London and S.J. Green. And clearly it seems to be, I thought you were going deep. Well, no, I thought you were going deep. And in the end, they both ran the hitches and nobody went deep.
So So now Sean White, who had made from 47, will have another attempt here from near the 27. Thing is, this has eaten up about a minute on the clock, time that the Alouettes could use. And a chance to make it an 8-point game. He does. 35-27, all the scoring at one end. The frustration continues to mount for Anthony Calvillo and the Montreal Alouettes. They're still in it. The Alouettes to creep within 8 points. Bo Levi Mitchell. He's the guy to go to the distance now. Kevin Glenn unable to go, knocked out of this game with injury. Drew Tate injured on the sideline. Bo Levi Mitchell goes deep here. Right into two Alouettes, double coverage. It's Anthony Parker.
Chip Cox gets up looking for an offensive pass interference call. Feeling that Parker tucked him down a little bit. Anthony Parker's going to end up running that corner route. Chip Cox is going to go with him from the Sam linebacker position on the inside. Gets help from the free safety, Marco Briette. And at that spot in place of Mike Edom.
Big down here for the Alouettes defense. 2nd and 10. Here's the rush. Bo Levi Mitchell. Oh, what a catch by Jabari Arthur. Goes up high and brings it down strong. Moves the chains.
Well, Jabari Arthur using every bit of his 6'4" frame to go up and get this one. Montreal native. This goes over top of Billy Parker to come down with the rebound.
Former first-round pick of the Stampeders was actually traded to Winnipeg. Remember the big Odell Willis, Romby Bryant trade a few years ago. Finds himself back here in Calgary and contributing significantly the last couple of weeks. First touch of the game for Matt Walter. His 24th birthday today. Walter playing a lot of special teams. And of course, part of this Dino reunion going on here tonight.
Yeah, big year for the Montreal Alouettes in terms of drafting and signing players from last year's Calgary Dinos team. Mike Edom, Stephen Limbala, both first-round picks from the UFC. Michael Clausen taken later. Jordan Verdone signed as a free agent. Dan Federkyle acquired via trade from the Toronto Argonauts this year by Calgary.
Bo Levi dishes it off to Marquay McDaniel. Speaks volumes about the program here. The Calgary Dinos may not have been able to win the Vanier Cup the last few years. Top prize in Canadian university football, but they've won a lot of Can West titles, and they've filtered a lot of players to the pros thanks to their program and their head coach, Blake Mill.
Yeah, absolutely. You see one of those guys, Mike Edom, over on the sidelines. That University of Calgary emblem in the end zone. McMahon Stadium, of course, right here beside the University of Calgary campus. An outstanding program.
Just a little bit shy here. 3rd down. Bring the big boys in.
You see Big Dan Federkyle played defensive tackle during his time at the UFC. Became an offensive tackle, spending 3 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts.
Super Bowl champion with the Colts.
And out of football for a couple of years with some concussion issues, but made a comeback this year with the Stamps. There's Mike Clausen.
Last time, Bo Levi Mitchell scampered for 24. Went right side. This time he goes up the gut. First down. Time ticks away on the Alouettes.
Good push right up the middle from that Stampeder offensive line. Rookie center Brett Jones at the point of attack.
I'm sure the message has been sent clearly to Bo Levi Mitchell. In a 1-possession game right now, ball security is key. Uncharted territory for Bo Levi Mitchell, getting a chance here to finish. Get the win. Can't make mistakes. Larry Taylor, end around on the reverse, picks up 2 or 3.
A good Change-up play to try to attack the edges. Part of the misdirection. Nick Lewis faking the crack block on the right side of that play. John Cornish is in the backfield to fake that handoff. Try and keep the defense in tight. The Owls did a pretty good job of flowing to defend it.
Point differential the same as it was a week ago in Montreal. There's an offside.
Ejiro Kowali, the defensive end, the man who moved early. Former Toronto Argonaut.
Offside. Montreal number 3. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
In Montreal last week, the Alouettes won 22-14, 8 points. Came down to the last minute. A chance this one could as well, but right now the Alouettes need a stop. I'm not so sure that anybody has even gone this far to this side of the field tonight in this game.
It's definitely been tilted by that wind.
Cornish digs it deeper. And a late flag and more unnecessary roughness. Tempers heated again. And Shea Emery and John Cornish in the middle of it.
A good hard run from Cornish.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Montreal number 17. 15 yards at the end of the play. First down.
Billy Parker, another UR penalty here tonight. That's a handful now for the Alouettes. Killing themselves. There's the
forearm smash that takes off the helmet. It's an easy call for the officials. As Cornish gets up and starts heading back to the huddle. It's a little shove in the back from his fellow BC native, Shea Emery.
High school players, high school stars in Vancouver. 120 yards and penalties for the Alouettes here. Matt Walter again. And again, more extracurriculars after. Cornish catches his breath, and as he does, here's what he's done so far tonight. The century mark against the Owls in this game.
Yes, second time he's reached that 100-yard plateau in 4 games this season. Strong ground game, long the focus. Starting point of this Calgary Stampeder offense under John Hufnagel.
Second down, 9th play of the drive, eating up tons of time on the clock here. Matt Walter again. Walter very close to moving the sticks.
Another one of those former Calgary Dinos, Stampeder draft pick back in 2011. So dispelled Cornish.
It will be third down, and we'll see if the seal can be broken here on this side of the field. And guess what? Mr. Automatic is coming out. Rene Paredes has a chance to stretch his consecutive field goal streak to 29 straight. CFL Special Teams Player of the Week. That would be one off the CFL record of 30 set by Paul McCallum 2 seasons ago. There it is. Inside the 20. The hold, the snap, the kick. 29 straight. Calgary is Paradise City. One off the record by Paul McCallum. Speaking of soccer, Venezuelan-born soccer star Rene Paredes is one field goal away from tying the all-time CFL record of 30 consecutive. The field goal he just hit, though, was a huge one. Makes it an 11-point game. Miscommunication back there. Jerome Messam barges to the 30-yard line. Anthony Calvillo has 4 minutes to work with.
Well, based on the history, if anybody can do it, it's the all-time leading passer in CFL history, the guy who holds virtually every passing record there is in this league. But the way that this game has gone, Rod, since the end of the first quarter, it's tough to have a lot of faith in the Montreal Alouettes.
You just don't get a sense. There was always that AC Alouette magic. Just don't get a sense of it offensively. Saw it in the first quarter. They're going to need to conjure that up again. Going deep downfield. Looking for Noel Devine. That one was way off.
Bringing pressure from the secondary on Calvillo that time was Brandon Smith, the halfback. He's going to come right off that edge. Press the quarterback, Calvillo. He's got to get this ball up in a hurry. And again, you see Calvillo sort of turning away as he throws the football, unable to step into it with a man in his face.
Such pedestrian numbers the last couple of weeks for the all-time record holder. 50% passing again. He goes deep again. And head over heels goes Quincy Butler. Another pass goes astray. And another 2-and-out for the Alouettes.
It just seems like so many plays that the Montreal Alouettes used to execute with confidence and great belief. They're now calling the same plays and just hoping for a completion.
Sean White has had to use that leg a lot tonight. Larry Taylor. 2:55 to go. That means the 3-minute warning, and the Calgary Stampeders on the verge of a 3-1 start.
What you guys doing?
For a guy who is one off an all-time record, pretty calm and composed, but that is the MO of Rene Paredes. Talk to anybody within the Calgary Stampeders who knows this kicker, anybody who played with him at Concordia. He's the ice kicker.
Yeah, unflappable. They try to bug him in practice when he's kicking, try to throw him off, try to get in his head to test him. Nothing seems to bother him.
John Cornish looks like he is shut down for the night. So Paredes is one off tying Paul McCallum's all-time mark. And his teammate, quarterback Kevin Glenn, respects what this kid can do.
Nothing bothers him. He doesn't show any type of emotion on the sideline or when he's kicking. When they're in practice, you try to, yell at him and try to get him off his game, and it doesn't work. And I think that's what helps him. He concentrates so much and stays so focused on his job that I think that's why he's had so many consecutive field goals in a row.
And as many of the teammates say, and I'm sure Schultze would describe it this way, it's pretty normal for a kicker.
Bo Levi Mitchell goes for the throat here. Anthony Parker can't haul it in, and there will be no attempt this time at a field goal. The Stampeders will bring out Rob Maver, their punter, and will kick it away. Still time left for the Alouettes, 2:32.
On a bit of a gamble here. Anthony Parker, the number 3 receiver, to the bottom of your screen. Moves down that seam, but tough read for Bo Levi Mitchell. It's 3 guys follow Parker.
This still game is not in the win column for the Stampeders. 11 points. Those viewers down south watching on ESPN2. Unlike 4-down football in the States, comeback is possible. Rules here and the stoppages. Speaking of comebacks, can Tiger make one again tomorrow? Tiger Woods 2 back. Leader is Lee Westwood at the Open Championship at Muirfield. 6 a.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. Pacific time. And imagine if Lee Westwood wins. What a year for the Brits. You go back a year, London Olympics, and all of the great things that happened. And Andy Murray winning Wimbledon. Amazing to think what could happen tomorrow if Westwood wins. He might be the king of English golf. 18 holes tomorrow at the Open Championship. Justin Rose, the U.S. Open. So many good things happening to the Brits. Not many good things happening to the Montreal Alouettes tonight.
Not so much. Things looked good early. The Alouettes looked like they had resolved their offensive issues. Maybe it is baby steps. Last week they started with one good drive and then had trouble. This week they got a good quarter in.
Prevent defense here. Trying to get to the first down marker and fighting and scrapping. Getting some help from his lineman. First completion in 7 attempts for Anthony Calvillo to Jamel Richardson. And it's going to be 3rd and about 1.5 yards. Almost 2 yards, and they have to go for it. If they don't get it, we could see Paredes again here. Kevin Huntley, last-minute substitution. And they whistle it down.
Timeout. Calgary.
A good call by John Hufnagel. Avoid any confusion at this point. An opportunity to put the game away if the right play and the right defensive personnel on the field here. Frustration for Anthony Calvillo and Dan Hawkins.
What a baptism. Former coach at Boise State in Colorado. Just like Mark Trestman a few years ago when he came in, learning curve. New league, new rules, new team. Calvillo fires, and it is! It is, it's not. Keon Raymond joined the circus. That was a heck of a juggling act to no avail.
Keon Raymond. If touches were a defensive stat, he got a whole bunch of them on that play, but no interception. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Dreaming about that pick six.
Wonder what his wife would say. She's a psychology major, and it even helps him with some of his lines he uses on the field.
Well, there'll be a little discussion about watch the ball into your hands, I think.
Well, John Cornish is back, keeps it on the ground, and they're going to try to put this in field goal position again for Paredes to tie this record here tonight. Again, that record, 30 consecutive field goals. Paredes, 4 for 4 tonight, 11 for 11 on the season. He's kicked 37 in a row, including the playoffs.
Well,
the playoffs don't count in the record book.
The perfect scenario for the Calgary Stampeders. Rene Paredes doesn't get a chance to kick that field goal because I think they'd rather just keep possession of this football and run out the clock, but they're not going to run any high-risk plays.
Cornish battles, and so here it is. Rene Paredes is going to come out on 3rd down, or will he? Standing there waiting for the word. It could be on the verge of watching a record tire right here.
Well, depending on the spot, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, John Hufnagel's not about getting Paredes the record. I'm surprised he's not going for it just to keep the ball.
And it looks like they are. Paredes is going to go for it here. Rene Paredes puts it down at the 34-yard line. This to tie the all-time CFL consecutive field goal record. Snap, the kick, it's blocked. Unbelievable, John Bowman blocked it. And the streak ends like that. On a block of all things, not a miss, a block. It's an attempt.
John Bowman playing the role of Lex Luthor. The villain here, stealing the glory.
Let's take a look. Here comes Bowman charging through. And Rene Paredes. 30 could not get to 30. Paul McCallum's record is safe for now. By the way, McCallum tonight playing in our second half of the doubleheader. He's still on a streak of 17 in a row. Looks like he's going to play tonight for the BC Lions. Rene Paredes, one away. Heartbreak. And it had nothing to do with him.
Well, it's a great effort play by John Bowman on a play that theoretically means nothing, but the tight end's got to squeeze down. You always got to block your inside gaps on the PAT field goal team, and they just didn't. But credit the veteran John Bowman for playing hard till the end instead of just letting that one go.
And as crazy as it sounds, that block is huge. It's not inconsequential. There's a penalty flag. It's still an 11-point game, and there still is time if they can score and get an onside kick. Mark Killam.
Yeah, you see the disappointment. Special teams coordinator for the Calgary Stampeders. Start a new streak, kid.
Procedure. Montreal number 59. Calgary is elected to decline the penalty and start the clock. Remains second down.
We have witnessed history here tonight, though. Not the field goal record being matched, but should Calgary win, this would be the largest comeback overcome after one quarter in CFL history in this game tonight. The Alouettes still breathing, though. Arland Bruce.
Calgary came back from down 24-0 after the first 15 minutes. Previous record was 20 points. The Montreal Alouettes on the wrong side of that one back in 2004.
Calvillo fumbles the football, picked up. Brandon Whitaker has it. It is whistled down. As Calvillo was in grasp. Like the ball may have come out before Calvillo was down, though.
Cordero Law from the top of the screen as the guy who brings him down.
Ball looked like that was a fumble. And they whistled it prematurely. Whitaker could have taken off with that football. 25 to go. Calvillo's got to go deep here. Goes over the middle instead to Arland Bruce. Lunging again. Time now the enemy. Almost impossible for the Alouettes. They'd have to hit the end zone here. Get a two-point convert onside kick. That's asking a lot.
Yeah, Stampeders throughout this drive, rushing three, dropping everybody. Don't let anyone behind you.
8 seconds to go. Delorier down. It's not going to matter here. There's going to be one more play. So we thought we might witness CFL history for a young field goal kicker tonight. Instead, the largest comeback after one quarter in the history of this league. John Huffnagel's Calgary Stampeders down 24-0. Frustration continues for the Montreal Alouettes. Last play, last gasp, end zone. That's it. The Stampeders with an enormous comeback. Penalty flag at the goal line. Haven't sounded the gun yet.
Calgary was trying to get a couple of defenders off the field. They had 14 men on the field still when the ball was snapped, as a couple guys were late getting out of the huddle.
Too many men on the field. Calgary, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Obviously, you hear about 13 men, but 14's a little much.
At least they were trying to get them off.
Zeros are on the clock. They'll have at least one more play. You cannot end on a penalty. Boy, if the Alouettes were facing some scrutiny and questions will continue, especially when it looked like they had this game in their grasp after one quarter. Unbelievable comeback. John Cornish ignites it. Calvillo. do the Alouettes. 1-3 to start the season. The Stampeders with an incredible comeback.
This one's going to take a whole lot of healing for Dan Hawkins and the Montreal Alouettes. A team that looked like they finally had things back on track the first quarter of this ball game and struggled for 3. Much credit to Kevin Glenn, Bo Levi Mitchell, John Cornish, the rest of the Calgary Stampeders.
The Stamps down early, then stung. 38-27, the final. The Paradise streak ends. The Stamps continue to win. They're 3-1 to start the 2013 season. A little home cooking tonight here in Calgary. Now let's send it back to the guys in the studio.
Thanks a lot. So there's the story in Calgary. Coming up in Vancouver, Fred Stamps missed last week for the Eskimos with a leg injury. He is ready to go, always dangerous, and Mike Riley will be happy to have him in his arsenal in the receiving corps. Welcome back, Dave Rayner, Chris Schultz, Milt Stiegel, and Jock Climby. And wow, 24-0 Montreal led after one quarter. Then Calgary storms back with 35 unanswered points en route to the 38-27 win.